IVM.
Hey everybody, quick request once again, if you could help us out by filling out our survey. It's at ivmpodcast.com/survey. This really helps us talk to advertisers about the kinds of people listening to these shows. Really do appreciate your help, and we're going to be doing a random drawing, and we'll be sending out some IVM swag. Hope you enjoy that.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin, Doctor, your habit coach. And today we have for our second time Dr. Vignesh. Also, if you haven't listened to the first episode, please make sure you listen to that as well, so you'll get a good continuation of what we're going to be talking about today. So let's jump straight into the podcast. Dr. Vignesh, you were talking about the liver. Liver is again an organ that I don't know too much about. And I know that it's super important, but apart from that, I don't know too much. So talk to us a little bit about the liver and what is its role and what are the kinds of things that we should be watching out for.
Okay, in Ayurveda, liver is a dominant site of Pitta, or Pitta is the ability to transform. Pitta literally means the ability to transform. And the qualities of Pitta, it is hot in nature and it also has a bit of water element. Now, this is just a very basic, brief understanding of the liver functions. Now, the main function of liver is it is like a sewage system that purifies and detoxifies the blood that we consume. See, all the food that you eat, it blends with enzymes. The nutrients enter the bloodstream, and the blood has to pass through the liver so that the liver also takes the next level of toxins and it will be eliminated through various eliminating mechanism in our body. And when the ability of the liver, when you put too much of toxins to into your bloodstream, the liver can get overworked. And when your liver gets overworked, what happens is you are not able to handle that. The term overfed, undernourished becomes so relevant when your liver is overworked. Because only through the blood, all our parts of the body is getting enough nutrients. Like for example, brain. Brain has, it takes the maximum amount of energy in all the organs in our body. So when your liver function is compromised, this also affects your brain's health. So that is why sometimes people say, after I eat, I'm not able to think, because your liver also is having these issues. So one way, when you reset your gut health, your liver health is also being reset to a great extent. Now, some people talk about, okay, I have to do a liver detox, especially in, they take this apple cider things, and that helps to detox the liver. In Chinese medicine, like how Ayurveda is so obsessed with gut health, Chinese medicine is obsessed with liver health.
Correct.
Okay, that's another topic to discuss. But according to Ayurveda, once you clean your stomach, your liver is naturally also cleansed, because liver is already, it's already in a process of cleansing itself. You just need to stop polluting it. Just like, we spoke about cleaning of Ganges, Ganga river, On one hand, when you go to the origins of Ganga river, the water is already pure. But in between, we are polluting it, and then afterwards, you are purifying it. And we are investing a lot of money. Just stop polluting it. The water is already pure by itself.
Correct.
So that's why in Ayurveda, we have this therapy called Panchakarma. Among these 5 procedures, there is one therapy where we clean the gut. By cleaning that gut, it's not done for everyone. It depends on your strength and your capacity to undergo that treatment. By cleaning that gut, what happens is your liver is automatically also cleansed, because your liver is, like the best solution that is given in IT customer care. Can you turn it off and turn it on? So what happens? That's also what happens during the fasting. You're just getting some rest. So when you cleanse your gut, your liver is also helping, it also is regenerated. But at the same time, there are many herbs that can add on to helping the liver to purify it.
Lovely.
So the inefficient liver makes your blood thick. And a thick blood makes a lot of issues. In fact, we were talking about sexual health in one of our previous episodes. When you have thick blood, it can lead to a lot of sexual illnesses as well.
Very interesting.
So this is just a brief understanding of the liver.
Can you touch upon what you were referring to in the Chinese medicine and liver? Because that is also a fascinating aspect.
Yeah. So in Chinese medicine, they feel once, because, they're seeing liver, once the liver is overworked and it is under efficient, then the blood becomes thick. And once the blood becomes thick, you can have more inflammation in the body. And the pain points in your body can become worse. And also, there is also a science that says we hold on to a lot of our anger and frustration in our liver. That is why some people say, there was once a father and daughter, they came for the consultation, and then the father left and he said, my father is always angry when he consumes alcohol. And if he's taking alcohol for a sustained period, the next few days, he gets angry really quick. Okay, there are a few ways to look at it. One, you can say that after alcohol, your energy dips the next day, and then your ability to also deal with that changes. But in general, when your liver is overworked, see, what does liver do? It helps you to differentiate what is nutrition and what is waste. So this ability to understand what is right and what is wrong. And this is also what our ability to see what is right, what is wrong, this changes. So when your liver work is overworked, what happens is we are not able to understand what is good for me and what is not good for me. So that change is happening. So that is why Chinese medicine, it talks about what can we do to cleanse the liver. Once the liver is cleansed, the blood is also better cleansed. So that way they are able to do that. So that is the aspect that you can see.
Fantastic. What about these liver cleanses, that have your lemon juice, fast, and then drink copious amounts of magnesium water so that you're then eliminating, and then eventually you get all these green things coming out of your poop. And, I've heard so many stories about this. My parents have tried this. I've never done it. What is it? What are these liver cleanses? Are they things that, according to you, work? Are they things that we should try or not try?
See, there is nothing like this works and that doesn't work. It just depends. Make sure you're taking the right advice from the right source. Make sure that they are authority in that and they know what they're telling. See, liver work, and we have an organ called gallbladder. Gallbladder, which helps us to release bile. Now, bile is something that's like an emulsifying agent. It helps to break down fat or things that are heavy in nature. Like we talk about something that which is heavy, bile is something that helps us to break it down so that we can use it for our blood. So this breaking down capacity comes with our ability to release bile and also with the efficiency of our gallbladder. So some of these apple cider vinegar, these helps to activate some of the release of this gallbladder efficiency. So that way we are able to enhance that.
Okay. So that is the kind of thing that we're doing. So it's not actually liver cleansing as much as gallbladder, and then that system is what we're working on. Is that correct?
No, see, liver is already such a fantastic organ. You don't have to do something to reinvent the wheel. You just need to stop polluting it. And something that you're doing is you're helping to enhance some of the release of bile. That way you're able to detox easier.
Lovely. So, doctor, you were talking about liver and sleep. Let's discuss that for a bit.
Sure. So, what happens when we sleep? 1/3 of our life we are supposed to spend in sleeping. And people say we need about 8 hours of sleep, things like that. Now, what happens when we sleep is it's not that everything shuts down. We are still breathing. Many of digestion is still happening. Little bit of that is happening. But just that our nervous system and our muscles are completely relaxing. Now, in fact, there is also a study done. When we sleep, our muscles relax the most. A good sleep helps our muscles to recover and relax. See, what all the things when we are awake, we move, blood is required in many parts of the body. But when we sleep, most of the work the blood has to do to keep us awake and active is not there anymore. So imagine you have to clean a room when there are people walking around. You can still clean the room, but what can be you can clean the room without the people in half an hour, but with the people maybe it might take 5 hours, 6 hours, and still it is not cleansed. So when you go to sleep, you are giving the liver an undivided attention over to the blood to clean. So this cleaning becomes more efficient when you are a disciple of good sleep. But at the same time, there are some theories, which not just theories, there are some studies that done. What they say is when people go to sleep after the sunset and when they wake up at the time of sunrise and before the sunrise, their liver function is much better. And also when you look at it, non-alcoholic liver diseases or liver disorders, this was not something that we saw before 1970s. It's only after 1970s we started deciding we started diagnosing people are having liver disease even though they are not consuming alcohol at all. And the alcoholics were like, oh, wow. So I'm glad that I got this liver disease after at least enjoying alcohol. And those people imagine what that life is. Yeah, exactly. So, and then they were like, why is this happening? It's because when you look at their lifestyle, they were not sleeping on time and they were having late night heavy foods, and especially heavy foods which are late night in nature, because once you have late night heavy food, your sleep gets compromised. So sleep, you can also call sleep as a blood thinning activity, blood purifying activity. And indirectly how it is, when you sleep, you are letting the blood be free from all the utility for your muscles, because your movement, your thinking, many of that is you don't need it. So you're allowing the blood to let it just go and renew itself, purify itself. So that is why good sleep is so important for your liver health.
So, doctor, if we can talk about, to start concluding on this discussion, because we've spoken about so many different aspects of gut health and liver health, and we've gone in different directions. If you could give people 5 actionables to stop damaging first, and 5 actionables to make it even better, or maybe 3 actionables to make it even better, how would we do that? So out of these 5, we've spoken about so many things. Let's make them into little habits that people can follow. And I think that would be a fun way of moving this podcast and making it actionable.
Sure. So some of the 5 things that I always recommend my patients is, it's not what you eat, it's how you digest. But at the same time, what you eat is also going to help you how to digest. So if you are in a habit of overeating, get rid of that as soon as possible.
Okay, lovely. So habit 1, don't overeat.
Yes. And in that first habit, you also need to put overeating, especially at night, is a big no if you want to protect your liver and your gut. Overeating and late night binging is the worst thing you can do to affect your liver. That's first.
So a heavy lunch is okay, but a heavy dinner is not. Is that correct?
Okay, let me make you understand. So when I mean heavy, afterwards, if you feel lethargic, lazy, tired, that is not healthy. But compared to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, comparatively, lunch you have the luxury to eat more than the other 2 times. But dinner, the more you eat, the more you're going to compromise your sleep, and it will affect your liver health. So that is why eat little. I mean, there's a statement, if you love to eat, then do one thing: eat little so you live long enough so you can eat a lot.
I love it. Okay. I'm stealing this. I'm definitely using this from here.
So that's one thing that you can use it. So the second habit that I can tell is, stick to your routine. Just like you have a meeting with your boss, or you have a review meeting, monthly stuff. This is something that is the company has a important thing. Imagine your gut and your liver is a part of your company, and you have a meeting with food every day at this point of time. And don't keep a buffer, not more than half an hour. Like, stick to your breakfast, lunch, and your dinner. Somehow plan your day in such a way that this is how this is going to be, and plan everything else apart from this. And along with the time you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fix your sleeping schedule also. Just try this for 1 month and see how you feel. Even if you eat something unhealthy, your body will still be able to handle that. Super. Just because of this.
Super. Lovely.
Third thing, if you have constipation, get rid of it immediately. So how to do that? Don't depend on laxatives. Make sure you go to get a proper guidance. I mean, one of the best therapies to treat constipation is Ayurveda, but it's not just taking Triphala or something. Take high fiber rich food, hydrate yourself well. At the same time, walking is one of the best laxatives you can do in the morning. So that's a great way to deal with that. And the fourth thing is, make sleep a non-negotiable activity, and especially going to sleep at a particular time of the day, which is like, I always recommend, don't delay it more than 11 o'clock. If you are in the habit of staying late, 11 is the latest. But I would say, if you can go to sleep by 10 o'clock and you wake up by 5 or 6 o'clock, okay, there's some people say, I'm a night owl. See, our human beings, according to Ayurveda, a person who wakes up early is someone who is destined to have a longevity and vitality. But it doesn't mean that he is sleeping very less. Some people also wake up very early without the quality of sleep. You have to go to sleep on time and then wake up early. That's what makes the importance. So that makes a huge difference. And once in a while, engage yourself in a detoxing therapy. One could be like panchakarma, or one could be even fasting. And go into some cleansing therapies so that you are, at one point of time, we didn't need so much of cleansing therapies. But today, because we are exposed to so much of heavy food and unhealthy lifestyle and too much of stress, detoxing is a must for us. Even though our body is a fantastic detoxing mechanism, but the kind of consumption that we are having, it is more than what our body can detox. So by following all this will help. And one herb that I always recommend, there is a herb called Bhumi Amalaki. It's a Sanskrit word. This is fantastic for enhancing your liver function.
Okay. Bhumi
Amalaki.
Okay. All right, lovely. And how would you suggest that? Is it something that everyone can take? Is it something that you ask your Ayurvedic doctor and take? Like, should I immediately go and order that?
No. I would highly recommend you consult with that. But this is just for awareness. There is something called as Bhumi Amalaki that is helpful for liver.
Okay.
But at the same time, consult an Ayurvedic physician or someone that you can trust who knows what they're doing with healing with liver cases.
And is it about healing or is it about enhancing?
See, I think healing and enhancing both are together. But when you talk about the word healing, we are just saying, how can I just get it off this disease? Right. Enhancing is like next level thing. But Bhumi Amalaki can also be taken to enhance, but mostly we take it for just to come out of if you're having any fatty liver or grade 2 or grade 3 liver. This will help to some extent with that.
Love it.
And give up alcohol. If you're into binge drinking, heavy drinking, alcohol, one of my professors used to say, if you're having issues with hepatitis or extreme fatty liver, if you look at alcohol, go and take shower. That's what he says.
Don't even look at it. Khalas.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. So we got tons of habits that we can start working on immediately with regards to our gut health and our liver health. What about people who say that, oh, my gut health is superb, I'm doing everything right? How can I now take it to the next level? Is there a way of actually becoming, taking it to the next level, making it even super more than normal?
See, when it comes to vitality, in Ayurveda, there is a statement in Charaka Samhita that ultimate health that we call like super health is a utopia. What they mean to say is, no matter what state of health you are, there is always a state to take it to the next level.
Correct.
That's how fascinating our body is. And it all depends on how you respect yourself and how you take care of it. But if you're in your best state of health, don't be complacent. Always look how I can, but at the same time, don't overdo it also. That's another thing that I always say. Sometimes, you get so obsessed with fitness, they overtrain and they get injured.
Yes.
Sometimes they get so obsessed with meditation and they forget the rest of their life.
Yes.
What we need is balance is what we need. So there is always scope to improve, but always do it at a balance. So finding that balance is the way to take it to the next level.
It's so interesting. One of my favorite questions to ask doctors is, have you ever met a healthy or a perfectly healthy individual? Right? And it's very interesting people's response. Let me ask you, have you ever met a perfectly healthy individual?
See, there's nothing called perfect. The moment you put the word perfect, you're putting a benchmark.
Correct.
And I have never been able to every time I put a benchmark, this is the most healthiest person I've met. See, one of the healthiest person that I've met, he was close to 87.
Wow.
And he was an Olympic athlete. And he used to perform he was there in the 1970s Olympics, he was performing. And you should see his vitality, even though he was but he does panchakarma every year for the last 25 years. And then he used to keep really strict routine, and sleep is like nothing compromised. I mean, it's always on time. I thought he was the most healthiest person. And then later I saw a person who was 90 years old. When he came to the retreat, he said, your yoga is too basic. Do you have an advanced level yoga? And then we sent him to an advanced level. No, this is even more basic. I want something more advanced. So you will see various levels of. I have seen people who are healthy, but that state perfectly healthy is still an utopia, because that is always an ever-changing aspect. You can still have a lot more to get better and better and better.
Right. So I love it, because there's always something that you can start working towards and going towards, and don't think about it as a destination, because your destinations always end up as something that is, you always feel disappointed. Either you won't reach it or you will reach it, but there's always that 1% better that you can keep being. And I think that's a lovely way of approaching this, especially when it comes to gut health and, our liver, which is such an important organ when we start thinking about this. Dr. Vignesh, anything else that you want to leave our audience with? Any other important thoughts for you?
Liver function is a very important function in our body. And it is not, people usually ask, do you have any herbs to deal with liver? It's like, people ask, when you go to some fitness trainers, how can I just lose my fat in that side of my body? And the response is, there is no individual exercise that is going to lose it. It's a result of your overall fitness and your diet and everything.
Correct.
So liver function, it will zero it down to your routine. Make routine, because once you have routine, you will save a lot of money in your hospital expenses, medical expenses. And not only that, you're going to improve your quality and your productivity. So if there is one thing that you can get out of this episode is fall in love with routine, because routine is the most powerful therapy our body can have.
I love it. Guys, you must check out what Dr. Vignesh is doing. He runs this fantastic resort where they do these retreat, where they do these panchakarmas and these treatments. If you are interested, please do go and check it out. Dr. Vignesh, how can people also come and consult with you? Now everything is online, so people can obviously consult with you easily. How should people be doing this?
First, check the website sitaramretreat.com or vigneshdevraj.com. So I have a link to deal with that.
Lovely. And then people can take an appointment from there and directly get in touch with you?
They'll see the links for my consultation, and also if they want to come to the retreat for a panchakarma, they can find it there.
Lovely. And please also do listen to Dr. Vignesh's podcast. I've been on the podcast. It's absolutely fantastic. My entire family is completely hooked on to it. Right. So, Dr. Vignesh, how can people find your podcast?
It's the name Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond. And I was honored to have you as my guest twice, and which was one of the best hits. And I really loved it. And it's always a mutual great feeling to be interviewed by you and also to interview you.
Thank you so much. I love this collaboration that we have. And the podcast is available everywhere, right? On all the podcast platforms.
Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, all of that.
Lovely. So guys, please do follow Dr. Vignesh. He's doing some fantastic work, and send us your questions. What are the kinds of things that you have, with questions about gut health, with questions about liver health, and let's start thinking about this, because I like this whole approach of taking one aspect of health and then discussing it thoroughly. Maybe we should talk about respiratory health next, because, that's such a big thing right now, especially.
Yes, definitely.
Superb. Thank you so much for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you, Ashdin. It's always an honor and pleasure to be in your podcast.
My pleasure.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Once again, just a quick reminder, please do help us out by filling out our survey. It's at ivmpodcast.com/survey. It really does help us figure out who's listening and, what are the characteristics that we can go and push to advertisers. That is massively helpful to us. Please, please, please do help out with that. So, on the network this week, let me start with a quick milestone. It's the 100th episode of Begin the Journey with Ashish Vidyarthi. Congratulations to Ashish and the team. Great show. If you're not listening to it, he talks to you about just how to approach life. It's just very, very cool stuff. Do check this out. Want to mention the note with Maruk Inayat. She talks about why petrol prices are so high. On the Wire Talk, Siddharth speaks with Harsh Mandar. On Advertising is Dead, Varun speaks to Kabir Biswas, the founder of Dunzo. They have a really interesting conversation about, what's the future of Dunzo and what they're thinking about. On the Traveling Professor's Diaries, check out Siddharth talk about the performance paradox. I found it really fascinating and interesting. I think that you guys will really get something out of listening to that. Please do give that a listen. And finally, let me mention Zindagi Diaries. It's Ragini Kumar's poetry podcast. The first week when it came out, we put out 5 poems first week. We put out another 5 poems this week, and the response has been phenomenal. Do check it out. It's in Hindi. It's a poetry podcast. Something a little different. Do give it a shot and let us know what you think. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Do you wonder what goes inside the mind of an achiever? How do they manage to get back up on their feet in spite of their failures? Do they really do something different? You're absolutely right. Yes, they do. I'm Aditi Surana. Join me every Wednesday and Friday on my show Absolutely Right, where I use my special tool of handwriting analysis, also known as graphology, to interview high performers and study secrets behind their success and personality. You can catch us on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.